So today I bought the world's most powerful Nerf gun, so we're going to test it out and see if it's true. And yeah, it really was extremely powerful, so I pranked my friend Brendan, then shot the wall again like this. Then I wanted to see how far the bullets would go in the air, so I shot it like this.
Oh, I see it.
It went extremely high. Then I somehow convinced my friend Brendan to let me shoot it.
Oh, right in the butt.
One day I bought a ton of bubble wrap rolls to cover my entire body in bubble wrap and test if I would be safe rolling down a hill. And it took a while, but I had my brother cover me completely in bubble wrap, arms, legs, and everything, and it was really hot, but I felt strong and entirely ready to take on this hill. I walked up to it like this, got on the ground, and started rolling. I got up to pretty high speeds. You can't really tell on camera, but I was flying. And when I tried to stand up, I couldn't see straight. So one day I found my old boat that I had previously flex taped a little bit of glass on and made a glass bottom boat out of. I decided I wanted to turn this boat into a boatmobile and put a bunch of wheels on it. So I went to the store and got some big giant wheels to attach to the boat. We took the wheels and attached them to all four corners of the boat like this, and then flipped it over and rolled it to the street to test it out. My goal was to make it fly down the road with ease. We took off and it was kind of squirrely going down the hill, and I kind of fell off the ditch. It wasn't really working, so then we just attached it to a lawnmower. So one day when it was really cold, I had an idea to take my giant human hamster ball and put it on this frozen pool. We made sure it was safe, and then we put the hamster ball on the ice, and I got in and started airing up. It was really cool and cold. Then my brother threw a snowball at me. What a meanie. But I continued airing up all the way until it was completely full. Then I just started walking around, and it was really slippery. The hamster ball was literally sliding on the ice. It was so cool. I continued running in it and trying to make it slide as much as possible to see what would happen, and it felt like the most insane experience ever. Just me and a giant human hamster ball on a lake of ice. Let me know what else I should do in this hamster ball. So one day I hired a real-life minion army to raid and invade Walmart. We sneaked our way through to this random aisle where my minion army suited up for battle. Once everyone was suited up, they lined up and paraded their way through Walmart. Our goal was to make it the entire way through Walmart without getting kicked out and put every single eyeball on us. And it was working. Everyone was looking and staring and following the minions. I then led the minions all the way to the bananas. And this random guy ran up and tried to take control of my army, harnessing the power of the banana. And the full video with all the minion invasions is on my YouTube, link in the description. So one day I wanted to make a real-life flying reindeer that would look like a flying reindeer from the sky. It just required a powerful drone, some rope, and this inflatable reindeer. The first attempt didn't go so well because the rope was way too heavy and the reindeer wouldn't fly. So I brought the drone back down and got a way smaller rope, and it actually took off. It was crazy. It took all the drone's power, but look how high up in the sky the reindeer got. It got to the point where you could barely even see it in the sky. Wow. I couldn't believe we actually got this thing to work. We flew it back down to the ground, and like if you want me to prank someone with this, or comment what else we should do. So my giant rubber band ball started from placing rubber bands around a watermelon, and today I bought a really big pumpkin to see if I could make the same results. We had a ton of bands, dumped them out, but most of them were too small, so we could only use the colored bands, which we ran out. So we had to go to the store and get more. Then we kept on placing until eventually it collapsed. But it only left us with this hat and a boat.
Pranking brother with my new gel blaster.
Yeah, pretty awkward.
He's in the chair.
What are you doing? My mouth was open. Ow!
He had to get even.
So one day I ordered some of the world's biggest candy to give out tomorrow on Halloween night. And I also went to the store to buy a bunch of full-size candy bars for when I run out of the giant candy. And I also went to this other store to get some more giant candy like this Dum Dum and this Hershey's bar. I piled all my candy on this table like this, my gummy bear and my gummy worm, which I decided to keep one and try it out. It was really good, and we were ready to go for tomorrow to give out the giant candy. So one day I wanted to test out if turning an egg into a rubber band ball would protect it from a drop. I poured the rubber bands out and then started placing them on the egg, hoping it wouldn't make the egg just collapse from the tension of the rubber bands. But it didn't, and I completed it, and it looked like this. It was a perfect ball. We took it to this high place. I threw it up in the air, and then I walked it to the ledge. I was confident in my rubber band ball saving the egg from any damage. I looked over and threw it. And let's just say you shouldn't cover your eggs in rubber bands. Let me know if I should make this another rubber band ball. So one day I went to the gas station to make another crazy random slushie. Last time I made one of these, you guys said it looked like diabetes in a cup. Well, today my goal is to make it taste good and still be healthy, which is why I'll be adding protein powder and other workout supplements. I got busy placing the Lifesavers in, the Airheads, and these cool looking Skittles. I put some ice in the cup, then added protein and this stuff, and just like that, the mix was ready to blend. I chopped it all up, and bam, here was my smoothie. Genuine reaction, here we go. Not terrible. So one day while I was at Sam's, I saw this hanging tent thing that I knew would be perfect for my zip line. So I bought one, waited in this long line, and then it was time to build it and put it on the zip line. I had basically no plan going into this, so I was surprised that it connected perfectly and sat on the zip line. So with it being all set and ready to test out, I climbed on in, and my brother pulled me all the way up and let me go. And yeah, it was a blast, so I let my brother try it out. He was kind of scared, but he sent it anyway, and it looked so cool. We literally made the first ziplining tent. Here's my POV racing through this thing. Let me know what else we should try. So one day, my brother was just metal detecting when he stumbled upon this old pocket watch buried in the ground. We wanted to know more about it and what it was worth, so I had the idea to take it to the pawn guy we always go to. My brother, Jack, he's metal detecting in our backyard, and we found this really valuable pocket watch. It's really old and antique-like. We think it might be rose gold or something.
Well, we can test it.
It said Hong Kong and
Hong Kong. They're not really known for their quality watches.
He looked into it with this little thing,
Hong Kong made.
and then did a scratch test in this little droplet thing to see if it was actually gold.
It is not gold.
How much do you think this thing's worth then?
I would probably just go put it back in the yard.
Disrespected. So one day I had a ton of waterproof spray and I was going to make myself completely waterproof. I bought a bunch of clothes, this shirt, this swimsuit, and this sponge to test it all out. To turn myself completely waterproof. Starting with these shoes, I sprayed them all over completely until they were completely covered. Then this shirt, which I completely covered as well, and this swimsuit, you can see how it got like all wet. And this Scrub Daddy as well. And it needs 24 hours to dry, so come back tomorrow to see me test it all out. It's part 2 of trying to completely waterproof myself with waterproof spray. I had a bunch of different stuff. These shoes, this shirt, this swimsuit, and this Scrub Daddy. I soaked everything in the spray and came back 24 hours later to test it out. The Scrub Daddy still held a bit of water, and these shoes had the water beat off them like this. Then I threw the clothes on and had my brother throw water on me. And I couldn't believe it. The water ran right off both the shirt and the swimsuit like this. It was crazy. It literally just repels the water. But then it was time to put the shoes on and walk on water. I looked at the pool and stepped in. And I went under, but the swimsuit still resisted all water and was dry. What happens when you run over a tiny rubber band ball? Today I wanted to test out a bunch of random stuff getting run over and see what would happen. I got a bunch of stuff at Walmart and also made this little aluminum ball. Starting with this stress ball, we're going to run it over and see what happens. And it completely popped it with the back tire. There was a bunch of white stuff that came out, and then I decided to do the bath bomb, which got shattered as well. Then silly string by this car, and it was really cool because it like kind of snaked out like this and destroyed the can. Then this ball, and then the tiny rubber band ball and the aluminum foil ball. The aluminum foil ball got completely flattened. Look at it. And last was the tiny rubber band ball, which I thought would hold up because it's a rubber band ball, and it did. It's perfect. So one day last year when it was freezing, I tried to freeze these giant water balloons. And this year it's even more cold, so I got these 4 24-inch water balloons I'm also going to be trying to freeze overnight. I started by trying to thaw the hose to make sure the water would clearly move through, and then let this balloon fill all the way up and zip tied it in the freezing cold. Then we just had to do one more balloon for safety to make sure we got one that would actually freeze, and they both filled up like this. Then it was just time to wait overnight. We came back and one of them kind of broke and looked like this, so we just started smashing it for the funsies. Smashing ice is one of the most satisfying things. Then stabbing this frozen pool, moving on the pool, and opening this one. It went everywhere. So one day, a while back, I made this trampoline out of rubber bands, and it was really cool until we destroyed it like this, and had to throw it away. But today I had the idea to recreate it with a big trampoline and even bigger rubber bands. We then got out a big pile of bands that we made into this giant loop, and it wasn't really working. So I realized I had to create a bunch of different strands of bands that perfectly stretched across the trampoline, which was a process. We looped all these rubber bands and then took them to the trampoline and started placing them on. And after a little while and a lot of bands, I tried to get on it, but it wasn't ready yet. So we continued until we had all the rubber bands placed completely on the trampoline, and then we tested it out. We couldn't believe it. It was actually holding us up perfectly, and it was super bouncy. It looked so cool underneath, and here's me on top of it. It felt like just a giant bouncy web. Then my girlfriend jumped on it and almost hit the bottom, and my brother almost fell through. So like if I should jump off the roof. So in my last video, I tried recreating my mini trampoline I made out of rubber bands by making a huge trampoline using giant rubber bands. I could bounce on it and everything, but you guys wanted me to add even more rubber bands. So that's exactly what I'm doing. We have another 25 pounds of rubber bands here to double the amount currently on the trampoline. So my brother and I got started looping them all into strands and placing them evenly around the entire trampoline over the center so it would have extra support. We also made sure each strand had a lot of tension, and we just kept going. We had a couple more strands left, finished it off, and bam, the trampoline was double the size. I then went under and got on it to test it out. I couldn't believe how strong it was now. I tried bouncing on it with my feet and it kind of worked, but it was really unstable. But even with all my weight bouncing as much as I could, the trampoline didn't hit the ground at all. That's insane, bro. So then I went again and tried to fully stand up and bounce on it like a normal trampoline. The only problem was all the bands made it really unstable and easy to fall through. So just let me know what else I should try. It's part 3 of building this giant rubber band trampoline, and you guys just keep wanting me to add more rubber bands, so we're gonna double it, making it 100 pounds of rubber bands on this trampoline. Here's a little time lapse of clouds going by until we had it built. The world's first ever rubber band trampoline with 100 pounds of giant rubber bands. And this time there was so much tension that when we bounced on it, it barely sank down. It was like a real trampoline, and my goal was to bounce on it like a normal functioning trampoline. I got up and started bouncing, and I actually made it happen. It was insane. This is the first ever rubber band trampoline, 100 pounds of rubber bands on this trampoline frame. I'm gonna be getting on it and testing it out. It's hard to kind of get on because the bands are kind of scattered until you get to the center. And now we're gonna try bouncing. It's easier to bounce on like your back and your stomach because you cover more bands. The hard part when you go to stand up and bounce. Whoa, dude. Some of you guys commented saying I should put a tarp over my giant rubber band trampoline. That way I wouldn't fall through and it would make it more like a real trampoline. So I bought this tarp at Walmart, made sure the trampoline still worked good. It did. Then I opened up the tarp and threw it on. We spread it out. It was a pretty big tarp, pretty sturdy. I flex taped it onto the trampoline and tested it out. And it still bounced great and definitely made me more stable on the trampoline. I then attempted a front flip to see if it would catch me, and it did. So let me know anything else you want me to try. One day, a while back, I tried to smash this giant water balloon with my giant 1,700 pound rubber band ball, but failed until the small rubber band ball took it out. Today, I have another giant water balloon, and I'm going to see what all random items I can use to try and break it. I got a llama, a watermelon, a pumpkin, and a bunch of other random junk, and then started filling the balloon all the way up like this. Eventually, the balloon was full, and it was time to test it out with the plunger, which didn't break, but it did suction. Then this llama that just broke. I then threw the pumpkin that surprisingly didn't do anything, and this tiny rubber band ball, and this water balloon. Then my watermelon didn't do anything either and was perfectly intact. The balloon was holding up really well, so I threw this hoverboard at it, and then I broke out the shovel. Yeah, like this video if you want to see me try with the giant rubber band ball again. So one day, my brother and I wanted to compare the cheapest food in our town to the most expensive food in our town. We first went to McDonald's, and my brother ordered off the dollar menu. We got a chicken sandwich and a small fry for like $4. And Jack enjoyed the fry. It was pretty good.
Fries, always good.
Then I started looking up fancy food places and found this place. I looked for the most expensive meal I could find, and then I placed an order for pickup. It was $70. So I drove there, and the place was actually super fancy. I felt really cool. There was these cool sculptures, and it was just a really neat place. I waited in the car a little bit for my food, and then they brought it out. I then took it home to try it out. I was about to eat the most expensive food I'd ever had. Pretty good, but $70 is a lot of money. Will a stranger shave their beard for $100? Excuse me, sir. Would you shave your beard off for $100? No. What about $200? No.
About 1,000.
Yeah, we didn't have much luck at Walmart, so we went to this local bike shop where we knew 2 guys had beards. Hello. You guys both got beards?
Yes, I do.
Would you guys shave your beard for $100? He's got a big beard.
Look how much this grows. I probably would.
It's so cool. I've never shaved anyone. And just like that, it was my first time shaving someone's face. You go like this, right? So I got started buzzing this guy's face, and I'd never really done this before, so I was pretty nervous, but everything was going smooth. I'm training to become a barber. You think I got what it takes?
I'd say.
So I just continued shaving his face with my Manscaped buzzer, doing a really good job. Then I let him finish it. Runs. Finished product. Wow. Here, I'm gonna give you 200.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh.
It's a pleasure. So one day I wanted to put the famous purple mattress to one final raw egg test. The mattress is advertised to protect an egg at any cost. And in the past when I've tested it, it has, to some extent. I carried the mattress over my fence and set it down, and it was time for level 1, the fall test. I fell back onto the egg and it survived. So I moved on to level 2, jumping on it with full force, which the egg also survived. So for level 3, I had a different idea. I got out my super powerful Nerf gun and shot the egg, which worked, but kind of defeats the entire point. So I had 2 more tests in mind. I got out this brick in the yard and threw it at the egg, but missed. So then I threw it again and the egg broke, yeah. But for the final level, I wanted to climb up super high and do a super slam on the egg. I got up on top of my shed and jumped. I landed perfectly on the egg and survived! So one day, a while back, I spent part of the day in these bouncy kangaroo shoes that are supposed to make you run fast and jump high, and I did a bunch of different stuff in them, but today I'm in them again, spending the entire day in them. Starting out, they made me kick this basketball surprisingly far, and then I went on this little walk, almost fell, kept on going, and then decided to take the kangaroo shoes off-roading. I walked on the dirt, then almost went up this hill, started running, and then went back home. My fridge was kind of dusty, and then decided to make some breakfast in my kangaroo shoes, doing normal everyday activities. It was pretty hard, but I made it, and then I took out the trash. Then I wanted to go to a trail, but I had to ride in the truck bed because I couldn't fit. Then I got to the trail and started running like this. I couldn't run very well in them, so I went to the gym to try to work out. People gave me some odd looks, so I went to the back room to train. Yeah, ropes, pushing this weight thing, then jumping high. And then I left. Let me know what else I should try. So one day, my friend Brendan really wanted this brand new Inagi scooter I had. So I told him if he really wanted the scooter, he had to agree to a week-long challenge. At any point during the week, I could ambush Brendan with the world's most powerful Nerf gun. It shoots insanely hard. Brendan accepted the challenge and went off on his new scooter. It was going to be in Brendan's best interest to try to hide from me, seeing as he gets the scooter either way. So I spent the week trying to map out his entire schedule, attempting to follow him everywhere he went. Brendan was doing a pretty good job of avoiding me because I looked everywhere without much luck. But little did he know, I was always one step ahead. On the last day of the challenge, I camped out at his favorite place, the gym. Eventually, I found his scooter laying in the bush, so I knew he was there. I proceeded into the gym with my Nerf gun drawn, ready to make my attack, until eventually I saw him. There he is. So one day for Halloween, I bought the world's biggest candy to give out. All the giant gummy worms and chocolate bars. So I started out with just regular full-size bars, switching between all the different kinds of candy.
Thank you.
Kit Kat.
First full-size bar, man. Thanks.
And then it was time.
I know you. Is there any chance I can have a giant gummy bear?
Here you go, my man.
You have another one?
Yeah, here you go, bro. We started giving out the jumbo candy left and
You
right.
guys still have those big gummy bears?
Here you go, bro.
Hey, thank you, man. You're cool.
Dum dum.
Can I please have one of those giant gummy bears?
You're in luck, bro. It was time to give away the biggest candy we had.
You can have this.
I can?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you. I love you. I know we were
And then people randomly started asking me about my rubber band ball.
Sick of that rubber band ball?
Yeah.
Are you the rubber band ball?
Oh, my. I know these. You want to do that really big rubber ball band?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, oh,
So I did the only logical thing and invited everyone to see it.